Hey everyone, it's Iona and welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you can hear, but it's super rainy outside, and in this video today we're going to talk all about one of my favourite hobbies, something that I'm really passionate about, and that is reading. So if you too like reading and enjoy a good book, maybe when it's rainy outside like this, let's stay put, let's watch this video and let's talk books together. Okay, as you can see by the title of this video, this is going to be all about the books that I've read so far in 2026. So it is August right now, so we are over halfway through the year. However, I did want to make two videos this year about reading. I wanted to make one halfway through the year about books that I've read so far, and then one at the end of the year about all the books that I read and which ones I liked and which ones I didn't like. I've been waiting to make a reading video for so long because reading is something I really enjoy. I think it's so interesting and there's so many amazing detailed worlds that you can delve into. Unfortunately, in my life, I only have maybe one person I can talk to about reading, and that's my dad. My dad is a very keen reader. He finally got a Kindle this year, which is fantastic. He does like physical books like myself. However, it was nice for him to get a Kindle because I think the whole house was covered in books. It probably still is, to be honest. But yeah, I really wanted to make a video all about reading so I could possibly find some other keen readers, share my suggestions. I think probably though you guys know all the books that I'm going to talk about, and get some suggestions from you guys. I think it'd be really fun to make a little discourse, I guess. Okay, so these are the books that I have brought. So I've actually brought 4 books. However, this one here, I'm not going to talk about it for a little moment. That is because these 3 are the ones that I've read so far in 2026, but that one there is one that I read in 2025. But I brought it to this video for a good reason. So why I picked these 3 books is because, of course, these are books that I read so far, that I have read so far in 2026 and enjoyed. But the great thing about these books is they are all very different genres from each other. I don't think they overlap at all, actually. So that's nice. Very different genres. So maybe you're not interested in one of the genres, you might be interested in the other two. Generally, about myself, I read a wide variety of different books, different genres, different authors. I would say the most common genre I read is probably crime. Then following that would be maybe gothic, I would say. I like gothic romance. So not in this pile because I didn't read it this year in 2026, but I read it last year in 2025 as Jane Eyre, which is like my all-time favourite gothic romance. I absolutely adore it. However, on the kind of topic of gothic romance, the first book that I have kind of chosen for this video is Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, so one of the other Bronte sisters. I read Jane Eyre, loved Jane Eyre. It's very different to this book. This book, it was crazy. It was crazy. I have my Goodreads actually. I am pretty sure I read this super quickly, possibly in 3 or so days. Let me check. Okay, so I have that information for you. It took me 4 days to read. I started reading it March 11th and I finished reading it March 15th. This book was so chaotic. It has how many pages? Well, quite a lot of pages actually, or this edition has 385 pages, and this is by the Vintage Classics edition. Or this is by Vintage Classics, so it's the Vintage Classics edition. I really had no idea about Wuthering Heights apart from the Kate Bush song. to be honest. And then I thought, okay, do you know what? I really enjoyed Jane Eyre. I know that is a different Bronte sister, but let's give the Bronte sisters a go. And I read this because the movie came out, the recent movie that came out, I think it was like Valentine's Day. Now I read this in March, past Valentine's Day. However, I really wanted to read this story before I got any spoilers. And I've still not seen the movie actually, I'm not particularly interested in seeing the movie. But when I started this, I could not put it down. And that was because of how interesting the characters were. The plot was so interesting as well. I wish I could give like a good review and be really detailed. I just don't think I have the words, but I feel like my mouth was like agape when I was reading it. It was just crazy, chaotic, but it made sense at the end. I liked that everything kind of like tied together, and when I finished this book, I thought this is truly a book that I will never ever forget. It must have been scandalous when it was published. Because for me, reading it in 2026, I thought it was scandalous. Yeah, crazy chaotic. I would love to know if anyone can recommend a good adaptation of this. I've heard there aren't really any, but I would love to know if you have one. So yeah, that's my first book, Gothic Romance, Wuthering Heights. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you have never read it, please pick it up and give it a go. It is, I keep saying it, it's chaotic, it's crazy, but it is so good. The second book I've chosen is one of the longer ones that I've read this year, possibly the longest that I've read so far, and this is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. So actually, this is my first ever Stephen King book, and I had watched some movies. I don't think, well, Salem's Lot, it's never been a movie, has it? I think it was like a television mini-series, something? I'm not sure. And then it got made into our kind of recent TV series, possibly. But anyway, I'd never actually watched anything about Salem's Lot. I had watched The Shining and Doctor Sleep. Maybe that was it actually. And Carrie. He's got so many stories, you know, so I've maybe watched some other movies, but I've never ever read any of these books. And I told you guys how much I love like Gothic romance. I absolutely love vampire stories, which is a little bit embarrassing. I think they kind of like tie together quite nicely, don't they? Like vampires and Gothic romance. Anyway, we won't get into that. However, this is of course all about vampires, and it's super interesting. I just like how creepy it was. When I read it, I was scared at night if I heard like a tapping on my window. Maybe it was like a windy night and something hit the window or there was a bug. I would be so terrified, thinking, oh my goodness, the whole city is changing and it's coming to get me. Stephen King, master of horror, very descriptive, has so many characters throughout the book that it is a lot to keep up with, but they're interesting. Yeah, really, really good. I did end up watching the 1970s miniseries. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I liked it, but the book is better. So because of how good this book was, I'm now reading The Stand. I nearly said Salem's Lot again. The Stand is much longer. I think it's like double the length, but I've heard it's really, really good. And it's about like a kind of illness, a plague, I guess. So super excited to read that one, although I'm really slow. My third and final book that I've really enjoyed reading so far in 2026 is actually a crime book. Now, this is an interesting one to talk about. I really enjoy crime / detective novels a lot, and in 2025 I started reading the Hercule Poirot books. Now, I'd kind of grown up with a lot of Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple and other kind of like detective series on TV, because my mum is really into that kind of stuff. But I'd never read the books, and I asked my dad, and my dad suggested some, and I actually started with this book here, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This book, wow, incredible. I know I keep saying that about all the books that I've read, but it was so good. It was so good. I'm sorry, I'm not a book reviewer. I just wanted to do a fun video about books. It was so good. It was so interesting. My husband doesn't read at all. He really doesn't enjoy it. I'm trying to get him into this because the story is amazing. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're thinking constantly, could it be them? Oh, that's suspicious. I don't know about that one. Maybe they're throwing the blame. You know, you're always on the edge of your seat, and it's just amazing how Poirot solves it in the end. I mean, he always solves it, doesn't he? No spoilers, because I haven't finished all the books. However, this book was read in 2025. So this is probably one of my favourite all-time crime stories. The other Poirot books that I've read that I loved were I think my other favourite probably was the ABC Murders. That was incredible too. But this is number one because it was my first ever Poirot, and it just completely took me by surprise, even though I'd seen the TV series with the amazing David Suchet. But why I wanted to point this or bring this book up was it's not a book I read in 2026, but I can't talk about a crime book without saying, if I'm honest, this is my all-time favourite crime book. So the book I'm about to show you now is incredible. I keep saying that about all the books, but this is my favourite. Okay, so the book I have chosen for my final book that I've enjoyed so far this 2026 is Mick Herron's Slow Horses. So this is the Slough House series by Mick Herron, all about kind of disgraced MI5 spies and agents. I got into this because I started watching Slow Horses with my husband on Apple TV, and it was just, should I say incredible? It was incredible. And I thought, I want more. So even though the first story, I knew it, you know, I'd seen the TV show, I just loved revisiting the characters, and I really loved the way that Mick Herron how he makes characters, how he describes them, their backstories. He describes many of them in not nice ways and points out a lot of their flaws and things that we wouldn't like, but wow, these are really interesting characters, and it's just so clever. And Jackson Lamb, nightmare boss, right? I think we can all probably agree, but what a man, right? How incredible. I don't know if I should say what a man. Yeah. I'm currently reading, is it Slow Lions? No, Dead Lions, goodness, the second story. So I've seen I've seen all the released seasons of the TV show. So there's 5 seasons released. So this is season 1, Dead Lions is season 2. I'm taking my time with Dead Lions, but this I zoomed through. I think I finished this in 3 or 4 days possibly, and this was something I think I finished in July, so just 1 month ago. Yeah, incredible book. Oh god, how many times have I said incredible in this video? I'm so sorry. Just really good, a really good book. Amazing spy book. I don't think I'd read a spy book before, maybe not. So you know, these are different. Like, this is a detective story and this is a spy thriller. But just, oh my god, just read them, they're so good. So guys, these are my top 3 books that I've read so far in 2026. I love them. They truly will stay with me. Influential books, super interesting, great writing, great characters, just wow, the stories, everything, love, 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 love. I wanted to come on here and kind of share how I felt about these books, just in case I could connect with someone else who liked reading. You know, I'm I'm not someone who reads. Excuse me. I'm not someone who reads hundreds of books every year, but I enjoy like a good book or two every month. And I would love to hear all about your book recommendations. Maybe you have a crime one that you can recommend me, or a gothic romance, or even a horror or a vampire horror. That would be great. And maybe we can talk about it in the comments. It's just great to share something that you're passionate about, and I hope to see you in future videos on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Bye bye.